partnership and your commitment to this island. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you very much, everybody. Craig Corbell. I grew up with my grandparents having a house on the west end of the island, and I've had a house myself here for the last 22 years, and built houses, bought houses, sold houses, put streets in, did all these things while also working all the time. And a few years ago, I found out that somebody I knew had Baywatch dolphin tours and wanted to sell it. And I said, wow, I've seen that, but I've never been on it. So I went on it, and I was amazed. I expected a 3, I got an 8. And there was 2-year-olds having a great time, and there were 92-year-olds having a great time. And I've never been involved in something like that where you truly make somebody happy and they have a great time. So I said, this is something I want to be a part of. So we worked a deal out. A month later, I own Dolphin Tours, all new world of business dealing with tourism, different types of retail customers, learning about marketing that way. It's completely different than oil and gas and all the other things, but a great time. But we saw a need. There were people waiting hours to ride my boats. What else is there to do? I knew about the Railroad Museum, I knew about the Ocean Star, some of the other things, but they wanted something else they could walk to. So I went over and started digging around some, and I found the Pirates, Legends of the Gulf Coast, and the Haunted Mayfield Manor that was owned by an absentee owner, and he didn't want it anymore. And I said, well, here's something else I could do to provide a little bit of a different type of entertainment for different folks. You know, anybody of all ages could go through the pirate side, learn about Jean Lafitte, his history on the island and everything. And then the haunted house has its own demographic of teenagers to people in their mid-30s that it does something for. So we bought it, we've made little improvements, we've made changes, we've done this, we've done that, and it's gotten busier, and we've fed people to the boats from the Haunting Pirates, and we've fed people from the Haunt Pirates to the boats. Last year we worked through all the process to launch a historic bus tour company, and we do a little bit of a haunted bus tour company because there wasn't anybody filling that gap at the time. The company that was doing it, the guy ended up getting sick and passing away. And I know in every other tourist city you go to, there's a bus you can go to. Because the city has its trolleys that are sort of a hop on, hop off, we didn't want to do that. So we pick up on the Port-Owned Road there at Pier 21, right by where our boats are, and we drop you back off there, but we take you on a little 45-minute historic tour of the island that talks about the storm, talks about the embankment at the San Luis, talks about the history of all the famous people who helped make Galveston what it is, and a little bit about what's going on in the future with Galveston. And so this last weekend is looking for something else for more people to do. We were fortunate enough to acquire a 145 passenger side wheeler, paddle wheeler replica in Omaha, Nebraska that had been there for multiple years, and here in a couple of weeks it's going to be making its way down the Missouri River to the Mississippi River and getting on intercoastal and headed here. So we're hoping at the end of the summer we'll have something like that over on the harbor to be able to do some really nice sunset cruises, some dinner cruises, some brunch cruises, all things to do. People know Galveston and they hear about the beach, but they don't know other parts of the island exist. And that was part of the reason for wanting the buses to start and stop from over there, is to educate people about downtown Galveston and all it is and what all there is to do there. And as the cruise business has changed and the new cruise lines are coming in, they're going to bring a little bit of a different clientele to us all year long than our typical summer people with families and our typical cruise passengers of years past that usually have a limited 1 week of time off. You're going to bring in a little bit older, potentially more retired passengers who have a little bit extra time to spend a day or two each way. but we have to have things that interest them. We have to have things for them to do, to make them tell their friends. We had such a good time on the cruise, and we had such a good time in Galveston. We had no idea everything there was to do there, and we didn't see it all. And we're gonna go on another cruise, and we're gonna spend a couple of days more, and we're gonna see more Galveston has to offer. But we have to provide that for everybody, and we've got to educate everybody that's there. And some of the things I've learned is about marketing. So for me, I'd never been on the dolphin tours because I've seen dolphins from my boat, right? And I says, well, I can see dolphins, and often comment on Facebook is, well, if you want to see dolphins, you can ride the ferry. Well, that is true, you can, but our captains provide a spectacular experience. And anybody that's never been on any of our boats, please come see us. We'll give you a pass for a couple of people. My treat, let y'all go out and enjoy it. You'll have a great time, I promise. But we do more than talk just about the dolphins. We talk about the history of Galveston, the history of the harbor, the history of it being such a major immigration point that I had no idea about till I got involved in that business. And I grew up in Houston, Texas, and I've been coming here my whole life, and I never knew Pelican Island at one point was the second largest immigration port behind Ellis Island in the United States. So it's pretty interesting. All those things are out there. We need to educate everybody, but we've also now learned that we really need to co-brand and co-market ourselves as not only dolphin tours, but also as we're providing a historical harbor tour of Galveston, and we're also talking about dolphins. And I think by having it that way, we appeal to the empty nesters and the baby boomers that necessarily don't want a dolphin tour, but want to go on a boat ride and do something cool. So sometimes we're doing all the right things, but maybe we're just not doing the right pitch to the right audience. And we found you can have multiple websites that each pitches a different thing. It's the same ride, and we actually do both things, but it's nearly impossible for us to describe the history when the name is Baywatch Dolphin Tours, right? So it's because people will come off and say, wow, we learned so much about Galveston, we had no idea. And the dolphins were cool, they were wonderful. But if you look at our Facebook following for the dolphin tours, 85% of our engagement is women between 25 and 55 years old for the dolphin tour page. So we've got to figure a way to change that around a little bit because they're not always here. Kids aren't always off school, but we're open year round on all of our stuff, whether it's a good day or a bad day, we're here. We may hardly do any business at all, but if someone comes to this island and wants to do some of my stuff, I want them to be able to do it. Even if they're the only person who comes all day long, that's okay, because we've got to be here, we've got to show up, we've got to represent and do all that. And that's what's important. And we're always looking for more opportunities to grow. We're always looking for ways to help charities, help events, help do whatever we can do to build up Galveston with a different vision than what everybody has in their mind of Galveston and the beach and not knowing what else is here. So we're trying to do our best to do that part. And anybody that has any idea or thought or whatever that we can help you with, or if there's any way for us to do a JV with you guys or whatever, please let us know. We're here to help. We're here to highlight Galveston. We're here to make Galveston a place that everybody wants to come to again and again and again. And so many people don't know Galveston, Texas. A lot of the people here that live here don't know Galveston. So we need to educate everybody. So thank you all. I hope y'all have enjoyed breakfast, and I hope everybody has a great time. It looks like we have some good stuff set up. And I brought this today.
Oh yeah, I'll hold it. You talk about it.
So I like to buy weird things, right? So I had just had this frame. This was a Jack Lemmon autograph photograph, and it was in another frame. And I said, that's not good enough. I want it changed. And You know, something that resonates for me is the movie Glengarry Ross. Have you guys seen that movie with Alec Baldwin and Jack Lemmon? Anyway, there's a scene in there
Hold that up. So
where
yeah.
where Jack Lemmon is going to get a cup of coffee, and they're supposed to be selling these lots. And Alec Baldwin says, "Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers." So everybody that had coffee, y'all got to go close something.
That's my new tagline. Anybody that knows me knows I love some coffee. Coffee's for closers. Thank you.
Thank you.
So much for all you do.